students in the ongoing series for making physics available in a more convenient and more explanatory way. I am today dealing with my lecture number 7 on my channel Physics Simplified to help all those students who are fed up with the textbook cramming and onslaught of the coaching institutes. I'll try to again deal today a very good topic, and that is grammar of physics. You must have heard that in English language, if you know grammar, then you can write a correct sentence. If you don't know grammar, and if you cram, you want to write an essay, you want to write something, you want to converse, you are bound to make mistakes. And I'll request all of you to pay attention while watching the video, because this is the foundation and pave your basics so that physics will be more simpler. It is simplified, I am telling. So I am simplifying this physics with the help of grammar. Grammar of physics. That is, what is that? Scalar, knowing your physical quantity and scalar or vector. Basically this is vector, scalar is a part. All things are associated basically with vector, because scalar we only know definition, and next we will deal with scalar. You all know, I don't need to write this. Physical quantities, we all know, have two classifications. One is scalar, another is vector. Scalar are those physical quantities which have only magnitude, they don't have definite directions, and vector have both magnitude and definite direction. This is all you know, so I am not writing this. Now, the example of scalar quantity you also know. So there are so many, but conveniently I will write something which, like we start with distance, and in vector column I am writing displacement. This is a start one. From class 7 you are solving questions, you are getting displacement. That is the first basic, because distance and displacement, and then you can say velocity and speed. So here I write speed, because something moving starts with this, so speed and velocity. This is a counterpart I am writing. Then the next is the column we are filling, and we are writing here force, of course acceleration. Okay, here will what you write? Force. Force is a vector, but work done, work and energy. Now there are so many things you can read. You know, I am not going to deal all those, because this is something more interesting and more fundamental. So now I will start with distance displacement. It is a very some example and something. So let us start and let us deal basically the vector, their grammar. If you understand vectors, so whole of the physics, right from mechanics to electrostat to fluid mechanics, everywhere you go you need vectors. People don't know, the students do not know vector, they just cram it out, and just for the whole of the year they are confused with in mechanics, whether you are going in fluid mechanics, whether you are going to magnetic, whether you are in electrostat, electric field, so many things. And so I am just now getting this, I am just erasing this to make space. Where were we are starting with distance and displacement. Vector definition you all know. Now I am just starting with an example and a convenient. Suppose a particle is moving in a circular path. Okay, so the circular path, the radii is r, and this is in a circular motion. Of course, we'll go later in detail uniform and non-uniform on the other way. But now the particle is starting from here and going and have a time period of revolution is t. T is the time period. This is a very interesting question. You all are right. I am just starting with the significance, and distance and displacement will deal. So what we have to calculate is distance oblique displacement. That is to show, and there the point of scalar vector comes. This is a scalar, this is vector. So the comparison starts now. At a time of t by 4. This is an interesting question. So you also see this is at time t by 4. So this is time. So at what position, if the particle here start with t equal to 0, and at t equal to t by 4, the particle will be at what position? Of course, here. So next time is t by 4. So what is the distance? The distance is the from one point to total length. Now distance is the totality from A to B is distance. So of course this is how much distance is from point A to B. If in a zigzag manner also, then you have to sum up all, because this is a scalar. Only magnitude is being added. Now so distance will be this is question you get in many of the exams, particularly in medical, whatever, because there the basic questions come, and this may be a question from vector, and so people will remember everything, but they will be confused. So I am starting with the time period concept, because maybe the time period is, of course, anything is that 3t by 4, t by 2, or something 3t by 8. So you have to calculate that angular velocity is given something. So distance AB, distance will be AB. A displacement will be with a direction, so it will also be AB. But it will be a vector is, you have to put an arrow. That is a direction from A to B. So distance is also AB, but it is a curve. So you say R. And what is this? So 2 pi R by 4. So it is pi R by 2. So 2 pi R is the total circumference, and time period is t by 4, so 1 quadrant, and this is arc length, so I am putting it arc. So distance is, or a scalar quantity does not have anything, you have to just add the magnitude arithmetically without any sign. But this, what is displacement? So displacement is a vector, so it will have magnitude and direction, and so displacement is the shortest distance. We always call it displacement is shortest distance. So you have to join 2 points, initial and terminal point, and with a shortest path. So this is AB. Now what will be this? This is R, and this is also R. So this will be R square root 2 from Pythagoras theorem. So this is a question for medical. I think people will go whole hog, and then so I have just put an example. So this, and so this may be for t any point. Either they will put some angle. If they pass simple harmonic motion, they will also. So this is the point. So distance displacement will be square root 2r. The magnitude you can calculate. Of course, it will be 1.57 r, and this will be 1.41. So it is always this. So distance, I try to explain in a very practical thing. So that's the way the grammar is read. So you have to, from the first point to last point, there may be another question like from this point. It is going like this, then going like this, and then coming like this, and you have to make this, or you have to make this. So this is the shortest distance you have made. This is distance and displacement. So now we have come to conclusion that scalar quantity, and now the whole hog for vector. So now the vector part comes. So what are the vectors? So now we have to define. We have already defined that a vector have got both magnitude as well as direction. So now the grammar starts. Grammar is what? Now the grammar starts now here. Okay. So grammar is that you have to define the direction. That's the most important, because later we'll see what is magnitude, what is direction. So direction is, so a vector is represented by, say, any physical quantity. So we will say that is a vector A. So it is only always defined by this. So notation of vector is this. You will represent a vector like this, and this vector has a magnitude. So its magnitude suppose is A, and the direction part. So this is magnitude, and the direction part is what? We call it A with a cap, and this is precisely here the grammar starts now. What is this? This is called unit vector. There are two very important things that you know. You'll always know unit vector. I will deal with what unit vector will do. That unit vector can be calculated now. A top is the vector itself divided by its magnitude. So it will give the direction. So unit vector is precisely the direction part. Magnitude part has scalar also. So vector have that unit. So unit vector is calculated this way. If you are giving a vector and you want to find the unit vector of this vector, then you calculate it this way. I will go in detail while going in with the component of a vector resolution later on. And then for a startup, for this part I can say that for a Cartesian coordinate system, this is Cartesian coordinate system, you all know 3-dimensional, x, y, z. There is a Cartesian coordinate system. And the unit vector along these coordinate axes are I, J and K. And then I'll see I'll explain in later part. So that is the unit vector. So these are the unit vector notations you will frequently use wherever you go physical quantity, because any direction will be in space. So any direction will have component along x, y and z directions. So like a force, like a moment, like an electrostatic field, electric fields, everything. So this is our unit vector we have defined. Now the algebra, I can say grammar comprises like this. We have gone through the basic difference. Now the algebra. That algebra is what we have already dealt. That scalar is added, scalar quantity are arithmetically added. But vector quantity, here the algebra comes. So now we will read also vector algebra. Vector algebra will say. We will deal with vector algebra. So what is vector algebra? Scalar. You have in arithmetic you can say scalar quantity are arithmetically added, vector quantity are algebraically added. So that is vector algebra. So here, what are the components? You can say what are the arithmetic algebra operations for our. So there is addition, there is subtraction, multiplication, and one more thing that is very important, and that is resolution and resultant. That addition of course will give resultant. We'll write here another component, resultant, and there is one resolution. There is one more thing I will write today, the position vector. These are the parts we'll discuss. Position vector very important, like unit vector. This is one of the most important topics. And the resolution. So one by one we'll go in the vector algebra, that is the grammar. And so addition, subtraction are more or less. And before going in multiplication, we'll read first this. So you can say this will come this, and then last will this multiplication. So let us start with addition, all resultant. Okay. So now we are starting with the first, that is addition, and of course angle. There we'll read about angle between vector, that is addition of vectors. Since vectors are direction, so they must have some angle or zero angle, we say. So one topic is also this. So suppose at a particular point, I am dealing with a practical example. Forces, I am saying not vector energy, I am saying two forces, F1 and F2. Okay, F1 and F2 are acting. F1 and F2 are acting. Okay, so F1 is this and F2 is this. And this is a point There is a point where the two forces are acting, and this is the measured angle. This is the obtuse angle. Suppose this is, I'm saying a vector. This is the point, and I'm saying this is vector A dash, and this is vector B dash. And this is the point where the two forces are acting. So, and this is the obtuse angle measured. This is the line of action of forces, and this is the obtuse angle. So, what will be the angle, actual angle, because this is the direction. So, what is the angle between these two vectors? Because that is the most important if you are going to addition or resolution, everything. Because you know the angle between vectors. So, there is the obtuse and this is acute. What will be the actual angle for calculating these things? And angle of addition oblique resultant. So, the basic underlying principle is you at a point you have to assume that the vectors are radiating out, and then the angle, whatever the angle, will be the angle between the vectors. So in this case, this is not theta, and I say this is 180 minus theta. So this is the angle, 180 minus theta will be the angle. For any point, if there are two vectors acting, then you have to rearrange it. Like this is the point from these which are originating out, radiating outwards. If there are something different things, like this is like this also, then the same thing. If there is something like this, then you have to see that both are to be radiated. Now, if the position is changing, I am saying now this is like this. So, what will be the issue now? So, what will be the issue? We have to make from this point, and I'm drawing the diagram. This is this, and this is this now. So, now this is an obtuse angle. That is the basic. So, this is the basic that you have to make it radiated. This is the point where the two forces are acting. So, now this angle is. Now this is, if this is theta, then this is also theta. So in this case, 180 minus theta. So you have to see the inward position that vectors are acting. So here the two, suppose, because this will go a long way in getting the angle between the vectors, because this is the basic thing, that this is angle or this is angle, this is better. So this is angle of the zero angle. If zero angle is, both are pulling here. So that is simple addition. The theta is either 0 or 180. And in another case, the angle will vary from 0 is less than theta, less than equal to, theta is less than equal to 180. This is the whole range between two vectors.